Just want to say thank you to everybody who's pointed out Isabel's mistake before the break and calling the man from Atlantis Aquaman.
Not guilty.
You said it.
I didn't even know really what Aquaman is, so
exactly.
Can't be held guilty of that. Lulu Barry, I love listening to Eamonn and Paul reliving the past of old times and making my morning. They are so funny and like two big kids having a great time. Thank you for brightening my morning just for 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you to all Man from Atlantis fans.
Oh, there are lots of corrections on that.
Out there.
Can I read this one really quickly, then we'll get into the papers. Yvonne says, I live in Lancashire and I have a milkman.
Yes.
But the milk is only 70p a pint, so that article was wrong. They were saying it was £1
Well,
more.
not according to the Daily Star and Meg Jorish in the Daily Star, who says that milk from the milkman costs £1.71 per litre and on average compared to 78p in the shops.
Well, not according to Yvonne, and she says she gets eggs as well as butter, all from her milkman, fresh from the local farm at 5:30 in the morning, 6 days a week. There's an advert.
I'm guessing she doesn't live where Meg lives, in North London.
Doesn't sound like it. But anyway.
Bottles clinking at 5:30 in the morning.
Lovely.
It's lovely.
You've been up for hours by then,
This is Dawn Neeson here, and this is Benedict Spence, and they've got the newspaper for us this morning. And Dawn, Suella Braverman says protesters who celebrate Hamas will feel the full force of the law, and they're not just celebrating Hamas, it's the atrocities.
Yeah, no, this is the marches that took place mainly in London at the weekend. They are supporting Palestine and what's happening to Palestinian civilians, but also there were people there who appeared to be supporting Hamas. We saw pictures of two women wearing images of the paragliders going into the dance in the desert where people were massacred, pinned on their jackets, and Suella is saying that we will not tolerate this, and the police have launched an urgent appeal for information about these particular women. And Benedict and I were talking about this just now during the break. It's supporting Palestinian civilians, absolutely fine, no problem, everyone should be doing it. No one wants to see any more people massacred. However, there is an air of anti-Semitism about what happened at those marches, and it is almost the one form of racism, not just in this country, but across the world, that people find somehow acceptable. And I just cannot understand how, if it was any other religious group or race, people would come out and say, this is wrong, this is wrong. The only people that appear to be saying this is wrong are other Jewish people.
Well, I do really think we need to guard against conflating people who are there genuinely supporting Palestinians, and not everybody was wearing those kinds of things. And I think there is a legitimate argument that people are affected in this country by what's happening in Gaza as well, and they have the right to demonstrate and express their concerns about it as well.
It was a small minority.
But as Dawn says, it takes a minimal excuse for people to come out and condemn Jewish people all the time. And they have to have so much security on their places of worship, their schools. I mean, you know, I had this at school. I mean, I hear people talk about not being able to wear their tie or their badge. That was just regular for me growing up in Belfast.
Yes. Well, my friend lives in North London. She's Jewish. Her little boy goes to a Jewish school, and before the school was closed and locked with security guards on it, he's 10 and he was frightened to go to school.
Yeah.
And you try explaining to, look, this is nothing compared to what is going to the children in Palestine and the children in Israel at the moment. But a little boy in North London, try explaining to him that the whole situation in the Middle East, and he just thinks people want to kill him.
Benedict, what have you got to say on this?
Again, it is, Dawn's right, this is where it veers straight away into anti-Semitism, into racism, because actually an awful lot of Israelis, of Jewish people in the UK, if you talk to them, they are not sort of uniformly in favour of Israel. They're a complex group with very complex political views. But the fact of the matter is, after Hamas attacked people in the south of Israel, before Israel reacted to it, there was a spike in anti-Semitic hate crime in London. And, you know, that's what we're sort of dealing with here. It's not a question of, are you pro-Israeli, are you not? People look for opportunities to attack Jewish communities around the world. The fact that we have to have security at Jewish schools in Britain in the 21st century is staggering to me. In Berlin over the weekend, people went around painting Stars of David on buildings where they knew that Jewish businesses were based. People live in Germany. In this, it's staggering to me. And again, Dawn is right. people find different reasons to get away with this sort of thing. And it's... I know that it is a prejudice, that it sort of transcends political ideology, religious ideology, but it is revolting. And I know also, on the subject specifically of Suella Braverman saying, if you are demonstrating in favour of a terrorist organisation, we're going to come down hard on you. Some people have suggested that this is sort of favouritism. It isn't. It's a disgraceful thing that anybody can support a banned terrorist organisation and expect anything other than to be arrested.
It's imprisonable with a maximum penalty of 14 years. So I think those two girls may find themselves in a lot of trouble, rightly so.
Benedict, there's a story in the Metro, and I'm scratching my head to really understand this. But this is a family who have been in lockdown since the first lockdown, March 2020. Why?
This is because I think many members of the family have very serious medical conditions and so can't or won't risk interacting with people for fear of getting COVID. So I'll just read this from Rob Boxall. Says that his wife Mandy is in remission for having been diagnosed with blood cancer in 2019, and their 31-year-old daughter has cerebral palsy, and they haven't been able to leave home since the first lockdown. Now, whether or not this is official guidance, I'm not sure, but I imagine that this is something that is... It's a reality for a lot of people across the UK who have sort of who are predisposed to different conditions. People who have genetic conditions, cancers. Is that COVID will have sort of really touched upon a bit of a nerve, even as the rest of us have been able to sort of go back into society. Whether or not you can expose yourself to something that is, it's now that it is sort of in the general population, we have vaccines for it, it isn't as deadly as it used to be. But that's not to say that it isn't a problem anymore. And, a lot of people in life do have to sort of take these precautions into account, that if you do pick up something like this, it can be a life or death situation. These are very specific examples, but people, haemophiliacs, people with all kinds of different cancers are at risk. And when these new sorts of diseases come about, yes, the average person in the street might benefit from a vaccine. They might be fine after a couple of months or years. But actually, a lot of people, it just adds a new level of jeopardy to them.
Oh, seamless link there.
I've run out of puff there.
Name that tune.
Name that tune.
That's the Blue Peter from the show Blue Peter, which was a childhood staple.
Yes.
Well, it would have been for me, it would have been for you, I presume.
I grew up watching Anthea Turner on there. And
did you?
Yeah, well, it's been going for 65 years and it hasn't stopped. That's the thing. So each generation has their Blue Peter presenters, don't they? I mean,
Well, where is it now?
It is in trouble, evidently. BBC,
what's on doing? It couldn't even tell you what channel it's on.
It is on BBC still, but I'm not quite sure.
It's online. It'll be online.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on sort of like on the. It's on the CBBC channel, so the children's channel. So that's why I'm not aware of it, even if you don't have small children. I couldn't tell you who the presenters even are now, but evidently it's celebrating its 65th birthday today. But 3 presenters have quit within the last 14 months, and basically there is a rumour that it's come to the end of the road. It's not really relevant for today's.
Do you know, I don't even know if it's,
however, the BBC
not relevant.
has denied it.
Do you know, my kids have never watched it, I admit, and I would love them to watch it. But they find themselves gravitating towards something like Netflix, and they'll stick on American stuff because you don't find any British kids material on there, and it's addictive and it hooks them in. If it was easy, I don't know, I just don't know if it can compete in the modern market with all this other stuff coming in. There's so many other channels, but I think it's really sad. It's so wholesome. Full of creative recycling and all the rest of it.
I used to love it. I mean, John Noakes was one of my presenters, and he was the one that climbed up Nelson's column, wasn't he? And as a kid, I just wanted to go and climb Nelson's column. Mum said it probably wasn't such a good idea. But he did that, like, literally with no harness, just literally climbing up a ladder. So for then, it has changed. Then it was encouraging you to get out and do stuff and sort of like, have an outdoor life, go out on your bike, go and explore the countryside, etc., etc. But I haven't watched it for a long time, and I don't know.
I'm going to go and seek it out later.
Yeah, well, my niece sort of like, grew up watching American TV and ended up talking like an American TV star. It's like, what?
I know.
That's true. But I chose the last BBC presenter. That girl there.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Right, we have to say goodbye to Dawn and Benedict. Thank you very much. We'll have more from both of them in a little while.
Anytime we get to anything interesting, she just jumps to the
in the
break.
Middle East in just a few moments' time.